Ian Huntley's murderer might not be fit to stand trial. Anthony Russell, who was charged with killing Ian Huntley inside of HMP Frankland on the 7th of March 2026. Today, there was a coroner's hearing in Crook, County Durham into the inquest into the death of Ian Huntley. We were going to hear from the inquest. You would have heard exactly what had happened because there has been a lot of hush-hush, and that is for the simple fact because it is now a murder case. Because at first when we were hearing reports about what had happened, then obviously the officers in the prison who had leaked some of the information were told, don't leak any more info or you will be up in court as a witness. So obviously there's been a lot of hush-hush afterwards. And since he was murdered, and we haven't yet found out exactly where it was and what was used. All we do know it was in a workshop and it was a metal bar. But there will be more comes to light. But the reason why the case at the coroner's inquest has been put off until September is because obviously there is now an ongoing murder case, and it has come to light that it's saying, when I've been researching up, Anthony Russell might not be fit to stand trial. Now, I know exactly why this is, and anybody who will know the laws or knows the court system and whatever else will know exactly why he's doing this. He's serving life without parole. Now, I will tell you again, Anthony Russell is an absolute wrong'un. He is a bacon himself. He went on a killing spree in 2020. He killed his friend, then went and killed his friend's mother, and then he went and raped Nicole McGregor, who was 31-year-old and pregnant. That horrible wrong'un led her down to some woodland, raped her and murdered her, knowing full well she was pregnant, and killed that unborn baby inside of her as well. Absolute wrong. And so for those murders, he was serving life without parole. And yes, he done a good deed inside of prison by ridding the prison estate and the country and the world for that matter of that horrible, wronging piece of work, Ian Huntley, who had it coming for over 2 decades. But Anthony Russell, a lot of people were praising him and saying, how do we send him commissary, canteen? Absolute wrong'un himself. He is an absolute wrong'un. He's serving life without parole. He's still inside of HMP Frankland in the segregation unit, kept away from all the other prisoners and treated like the dog that he is, because he will be getting tortured inside of that block. And you might be thinking, well, why would the screws be torturing him? They're torturing him because he's an absolute dog himself. He's an absolute wrong'un. Absolute bacon beast wrong'un. And he deserves everything he gets. But he is going to spend the rest of his sorry days inside of prison. And for the next 10 years, he will not be coming out of the blocks or the units. So why might he not be fit to stand trial? Well, he's sitting down the block, he's serving life without parole, and he's now thinking, shit, I've got the next 10 years of this. At least when he's on a wing, a bacon wing, at least when he's on a wing, he's got his bits of luxuries. You can do your bits of cooking on the wing, because in high security prisons, they have kitchens on the wing where you can cook your own food. You can buy things off the canteen if you have money, or if you've been working in a workshop, which he was, and if you've got a job inside a prison and you have money, then you can buy your luxuries on the canteen. He is down the block. He will not have any chance of having any luxuries. He won't have any money to get any luxuries. So he will be thinking, shit, was it really worth it? What can I do now? I want to get in a mental institution. The only way he's ever going to be happy now is by being in a mental hospital. Because in a mental hospital, they don't even have to work to get money put on their canteens. They get money to spend every week. And it's not the same as being in a prison. They get more freedoms. They get plenty of narcotics from the meds hatch to make them cabbaged, which they want inside of prison, these type of inmates. They want to be out of their heads. He's a drug head anyway. So now, that little smackhead wrongin will be thinking, shit, how am I going to get me fix? But if he's in a mental institution and he's not fit to stand trial, and they do section him and put him in a mental institution, then he's going to have a lot more cushier time. He's going to be back on a normal, well, not normal, but he'll be back on a ward, a wing sort of thing. It's not the same as a prison wing. It's classed as a hospital when they get sectioned, like Broadmoor Hospital. They get put onto different wards instead of wings. And then he's going to have a bit more luxury and a bit more freedom and a bit more normality. Whereas for the next 10 years, he's going to be stuck in the blocks, getting tortured and griefed, not just off the screws. They share the block with normal location lads, so anyone that goes down the block, they're all down the block together. Obviously, they might have them on separate parts of the block, but they'll still get tortured out the doors. The screws will say, oh, here's such and such is down there. Give them a bit of grief. So what do they do to pass the day? Grief the bacons out the windows all day long. So he will be lying in the pad, slavering, pretending like Huntley done, like Ian Huntley done, if you remember when you seen these interviews, after he'd killed those two little angels, Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, may you both rest in peace. And when he knew he was going to be spending the rest of his life in prison, he started slavering and pretending he was not well to try and get put in a hospital, because when they've done their deeds and they realise their time is up, they're going to be spending the rest of their life in prison or in a block, they'll do anything to get out of it. So obviously he's going to try and pretend that he wasn't well. He was hearing voices. Someone was telling him to do it. And he's a schizophrenic, paranoid, delusional, loopy bacon. And that's what he's going to be trying to get out of. But what happens? Well, psychiatrists will be going in to evaluate him. The prison psychiatrists, and I do believe there probably will be like independent psychiatrists, because his counsel, his King's Counsel, his KC, will be trying their best to say that he wasn't well, he was mentally unwell. And like I say, he's got all that time to spend in the block. He's got no TV, he's got nothing. He's just killed a prisoner, even though it was a bacon. The prison doesn't look at it like that. The prison treat it as if it was any normal prisoner getting murdered, or a normal murder. On the outside, there's an investigation to keep him segregated. So he's got all the time in the world to lie and slaver in his pad, bang his head off the wall, shit himself up, and make himself look like a lunatic, because what else would you do? If you were in that situation, you would do the same. If you were a prisoner inside the block, serving life without parole, you've killed another inmate, what are you going to do? You're going to pretend you're absolutely psycho, and there's a good chance they're going to believe it, because you're in for killing 3 people and you've took out a prisoner. And the normal people, the normal psychiatrist, any normal person will be saying, Well, it's not normal for somebody to do this kind of act. But he is going to be trying to, obviously, he's going to try and play along with that and pretend that he's a lunatic, even though he is a lunatic. But he's not mentally unwell lunatic. He's a fucking freak that deserves to be in prison. And he's done Huntley in to get a bit more notoriety. And everyone in the country, in the world, agreed with what he'd done. Even his mother and his daughter didn't want nothing to do with the burial or anything or the aftermath. They all wanted his fucking ashes gone. He was he was burnt and discarded of in an undisclosed location. And that was the end of him. But now, Anthony Russell, his legacy of being a wrong'un continues inside of prison, and like I've said, he's going to pretend that he is absolutely cuckoo, because the best place for him in his head, he'll be thinking, the best place for me is in, I was going to say Broadway there, in Broadmoor Hospital, because otherwise it's 10 years inside of the blocks, and that wrong'un will not survive 10 years in the blocks. He'll bang his head off the walls until they do section him. So that is what's going to happen. But he is up for pre-trial hearing next week, and we will see what happens at the pre-trial hearing. He has been on a few video calls to the Crown Courts. So we will see what happens and see whether or not he is fit to stand trial. But I don't believe he will be fit to stand trial, and they will section him, and I'll keep you all updated, because I'm sure everyone will be wanting to know exactly what is going to happen. But just like in the case that I covered yesterday with the Ian Watkins murder trial, when the trial collapsed, Rico Goodell played his cards right. He knew what to do. He went in there and said, if you didn't see the video, go and have a look. It was on yesterday. He went in there and said, yes, I admit it. I admit the murder. He killed Ian Watkins. But the big but is, he says, the screws and the governor should be on trial also, because they knew I was going to do it. They knew I was going to kill a bacon inside of prison. And he played his cards right. And there was a deadlocked jury. The jury couldn't come to a decision because of that. But I will keep you updated on this one, people. I just wanted to bring you that news for today, because that was in the headlines when I was researching the story. The inquest into his death has been adjourned, and Anthony Russell could be deemed unfit to stand trial. But I'm going to leave that one there for now, people. If you are enjoying the content, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Take care, everyone, but most importantly, stay safe.